to one of Michael's records last night.
He sure did. LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Pacers. LeBron, now check this out, 10-plus points in 1,282 straight games and came into the fourth with 0 made field goals. Last time that happened for him 2 decades ago, and LeBron, that 10-point streak going back to 2007. Okay, now he's 5 points away from 10. Yes, from 10 in the fourth. Mid-range jumper, it's like somebody said to him, LeBron, get 10. And so he's like, okay, that's what I do. Now he's 3 points away, and right there, he got it. Keeping the streak alive, 13 points, 13 boards. Kind of a rough shooting night for him. Lakers up 13, but Pacers came back. Luka's got to get him this 3 to tie. And now the Lakers tied up at 110. Next Lakers possession, Luka having his way with the D, driving in, getting it to go off glass. Game high 34 for him. Under a minute left in the fourth. Tyrese Halliburton, Pacers down 2. Gets the bucket and gets fouled, would hit the free throw. So Pacers up 1. 10 seconds left in regulation. Lakers down 1. LeBron getting it to Luka. Luka, win it. No, the miss. Bron, tip in, buzzer beater, ball game. Halliburton's like, what just happened? Well, I'll show you. Here's the replay. Pacers defenders all over Doncic, leaving LeBron all alone to get the game winner. Lakers win it by 1. His first game-winning buzzer beater as a Laker. How did it feel?
To be honest, I didn't know how it felt because I was just trying to see if I was trying to look at the jumbo trying to see if I got it off. But, you know, this team has been playing extremely well in the Pacers, man, and we haven't been the last few games, so it was great to come into a hostile environment and get a win in that fashion.
That's a fashionable win indeed. LeBron James with his 8th career game-winning buzzer beater, tying Kobe Bryant and Joe Johnson for the 2nd most in NBA history, including the playoffs. Who's got the most? Well, you know, MJ with 9. But LeBron's working on that. Well, entering Wednesday's game, he was 0 for 18 on potential go-ahead shots in the final 10 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime with the Lakers. And, man, he got clutch last night. Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin, Anscape's David Dennis Jr. joining us. Dave, you were in the building last night. There was a point where it looked like it would be one of the worst losses of the season for the Lakers. Then LeBron saves the day. What was the reaction afterwards?
Yeah, Ryan, so I'm in the locker room afterwards, and I'm chit-chatting with LeBron, and we mentioned someone signing a 5-year contract. And Austin Reeves, who is at an adjacent locker, kind of, his ears perk up and goes, "What's that, champ? You say you're going to play 5 more years? That's great. It's great news. I want to keep playing with you." He's doing things like this on a nightly basis at age 40, year 22, that make you believe things like that are possible. Last night, he looked as mortal as we've seen him through 3 quarters. It's the only time in 1,553 career games that he's played in the NBA where he did not score a field goal through the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he drops 10 points. He leads the team in rebounding. Obviously, has the presence of mind to not only set up Luka Doncic with a pass leading to the final shot, but position himself to get the tip in. And you know, now this team gets a much needed release of tension and pressure that had been building up. I talked to Gabe Vincent, the Lakers role player, afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, that was ugly, but when you need the win like you need your next breath, it doesn't matter how ugly it is."
Yeah, indeed. They got off the skid, and J.J. Redick even talked about LeBron kept it up on defense despite the tough offensive night, and he got rewarded by the basketball gods. All right, so David, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's win?
Well, first on the Indiana side, if you're Indianapolis, you may want to have crisis managers when LeBron comes to town. The dude has hit game winners in 3 different jerseys against that team. That just seems like cruel work. But if you're the Lakers, long term, this is sort of the tightrope that they are walking. On the offensive side, down the stretch, LeBron and Luka just figured this thing out. LeBron did not have that field goal in the first 3 quarters, as Dave mentioned. 10 points in that fourth quarter, was able to come through in the clutch. Luka was front rimming a lot of shots offensively, but he came through with a 3-pointer and a layup down the stretch. You got to believe that offensively they can figure that stuff out. But on the defensive end, here's your big concern. Indiana was hunting Luka on the defensive end. Halliburton was blowing right past him. Mathurin was blowing right past him. If you're going to have defenses where Jackson Hayes is not on the court, it's going to look like a layup line. So if you're the Lakers, you have to figure out that balance of trusting that LeBron and Luka offensively are going to figure this thing out down the stretch, while also trying to make up for the fact that if Luka's tired, he's putting up those minutes. Defensively, he is still a liability in those ISO situations.
All right, so Dave, based on what David just said, what is the Lakers' level of concern on D at this point?
I mean, certainly that is what they've been drilling down during this downturn that they've had, that they need to get back to having a strong defense. That's what led them to that 8-game winning streak. That's what led them to a 20-4 record over a 24-game span, which allowed them to skyrocket up the Western Conference standings. And they believe that is their standard. Now, it was very interesting to hear LeBron last night basically say that he knows he just has to contribute in different ways for this team compared to other teams he's been on. Now, that could mean less offense and saving some of his energy for defense, but it's not just LeBron that needs to be better on the defensive end. Last night, you had Jackson Hayes in foul trouble. That's one of his responsibilities, to stay out of foul trouble so he can stay on the court and help them defensively. Someone like Luka Doncic, obviously, there's been some discussion about him needing to leave a play on the other end if he doesn't like a call he doesn't get on offense, be ready to reset and bring his defensive attention to the other end. So there are little things they need to tweak, but they believe if they're going to win big, it's going to be on the defensive end in the postseason.
Yeah, they got to get it going defensively, especially if they want to win the playoffs. Let's see if they can keep their wins going. They're in Chicago to face the Bulls tonight. David, thanks, guys.
I don't remember back in the day any physical altercations really between media and
I can remember some dust-ups in the locker room. Certainly when I was with the Dallas Cowboys, there were media members that would ask questions and box players into answers that they were uncomfortable with, and they would take umbrage with that. But the media has a job to do, just like you have a job to do. And every professional athlete understands that this is what goes along with it. And a lot of the times we don't like what they have to say, but we have a degree of control with that because they can't write it if you don't give them something. And I think that's the part that's a little bit frustrating to me when we start to hear LeBron James criticizing the media and knowing that he has arguably the most curated career of any professional athlete that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. He has so many different platforms, so many different outlets to get his messaging, his quote-unquote counter-programming across. I don't understand why he's taken such offense to the way the game has been covered and the proximity that the reporters have to the game, especially knowing that the coverage around the game is what allows players to make what they make right now. Like, we're talking about the salary cap for the NBA growing 10% year over year. Think about how much money these guys are making now. There are players that are getting $70 million a year on contracts. I get that there are some things that you don't like about it, but in the aggregate, it's a situation that's beneficial for the players in terms